Are you looking for tips to start full comboing expert songs? Lock in your first all perfect and farm up thousands of crystals for more 4-star pulls? Well, then this video probably isn't for you. But if you're someone who's new to mobile rhythm games, or just rhythm games in general, then this video may be quite helpful when you're just getting started playing Project Sekai, or Colorful Stage. So enough stalling, let's get started. Now, this video is intended for those who aren't very familiar with rhythm games. So understand that we'll be covering a lot of the basics. So the first thing you want to think about is your playstyle and what you're playing on. Obviously here I have a tablet, which is in my opinion the most optimal way to play. But not everyone has that option available to them. So alternatively, you could also play on a touchscreen phone, which is perfectly okay. While I have the phone here, I'd like to discuss what I think are the two main playing styles, which is with your thumbs, or the other is with your index fingers, which is how I play. Now, both play styles are valid, but I just want to point out that if you plan on playing more than just casually, I suggest using your index fingers and eventually start incorporating your middle fingers as well, because higher level charts may require you to use multiple fingers, and if you're planning on transitioning to a tablet in the future, this will make it a bit easier. Alright, now let's get into the game. The first time you launch the game, it'll ask you some basic questions like your name, your birthday, etc. And it'll have you go through a quick tutorial on how to play, followed by a lot of waiting while the game downloads a ton of files. Now you'll also be asked a few questions. You can answer them truthfully or just tap and skip along. This is mainly tied to the story aspect of the game. If you're into that, then totally read along, take your time. Otherwise, it doesn't really affect much else because you can still change and pick a different unit after the questions. So now we're at the main menu. What do we do now? Now we get to do the most fun part of any game. Adjusting the settings. Alright, so now click on the button on the top right, and you can just ignore everything here and just go to the options button right there. The first thing you want to adjust is your note speed and timing, or offset as it's referred to in other games. To better help visualize what's going on, you can select the Calibrate with Preview button. It'll open up an interface where you can preview the adjustments you're making. Here you can see how fast the note is going and check if you're able to react fast enough. So with regarding note speed, there is no right speed. A lot of people play with different speeds. Even for me, I can adjust my speed multiple times a day depending on how tired I am. So find something you're comfortable with. If it's too fast, slow it down. Simple, right? The main reason why people increase their speed is so that the screen isn't so cluttered with notes and you can properly time, meaning hitting a note when it's dead center on the line, resulting in a perfect. Next is the timing or offset. I know, this is so exciting. My recommendation for this setting is to leave it at 0 if you're brand new to rhythm games. It's better to adjust to the default timing that way. If you're coming from a different game and you feel like the sync of the notes and the music are off, this is where you'd be adjusting. If you feel like the notes are late, adjust it towards the negative side, and if it's early, adjust it positive. There's also the case of when you're using external speakers via Bluetooth or something else that has latency, then you'd want to adjust towards the negative side. I've played on speakers where the delay was so bad I had to adjust it to like -11, which is huge. As you can see right now, mine's at -3.5. That's because it's I'm recording, so there's a bit of delay. Otherwise, I normally play at like -1. So once you're good with that, just hit OK. And now you want to scroll down to the next section. Now, here are the settings that I use personally because it gets rid of a lot of distractions, at least things that distract me while I'm playing. Background brightness and lane transparency I keep at 50% and 100% respectively. This helps me see the notes a lot better. Cut-in effects I like to leave off. As much as I love being yelled at by anime characters, not while I'm playing. Display skill I like to leave off because it's just another distracting pop-up. Multi-tap lane I leave on. This is an indicator that shows that you need to hit 2 notes simultaneously. Vibration and AP effect are down to personal preference. AP effects just shows you if you're maintaining an all-perfect combo, which really isn't a big concern if you're just starting out. I personally like to leave late and earlies on. A few people will say it's distracting, but I think it's more helpful than not. Mainly for full comboing. For example, if I start seeing a bunch of late indicators, it means that I'm falling behind and I need to hit a little faster to get back on beat. But this is more of an advanced thing, so don't worry too much about it. Playing with this turned off is fine too. And then mirrored lanes, you can leave off. I can't really think of an example of when you'd want to turn this on. Now, down at the bottom, these are settings regarding the background while you're playing. I like to leave this on light. It helps with the performance of your tablet or phone, and it's much less distracting while you're playing. And then the 3D MV quality is pretty irrelevant since we have it switched to light, so whatever, I like to leave it on standard. Alright, now we're almost finished, just bear with me a little longer. Next tab is volume. For the show volume section, this is while you're playing the game. I like to leave the BGM at 100. This is the song audio while you're playing. And SE, or sound effects, would be your hit sounds and taps in-game. I like to leave this at 0 because I sometimes play with the really high offset, so this can sound really off. And then I leave voice at 0 because I don't want people screaming at me while I'm playing. Also, if you're playing with wireless headphones or speakers, I suggest you leave sound effects off as well. Otherwise, it's down to personal preference if you want it on or off. Then scrolling down is system volume. These are the sounds that you'll be hearing in the menus and outside of the gameplay. Again, this is also personal preference, but I leave it all at 100 because it doesn't really matter. Now, we don't really have to worry about the system settings because all of it's just personal preference in my opinion, and it doesn't really pertain to the gameplay much. So with that, we are done with the settings. Wow, wasn't that fun? Anyways, let's get into finally playing. So you're going to want to hit the show button on the bottom right. Now you're greeted with a bunch of options to choose from. But for the sake of the video, we're just going to be picking solo show, which is single player. One thing I want to touch on briefly is the bonus energy system here. Some mobile games have a stamina system where you can only play if you have enough stamina, energy, hearts, etc. In Project Sekai, the energy only affects the number of rewards you receive at the end of completing a song. It doesn't actually prevent you from playing or practicing. It only reduces the amount of rewards you get at the end. So don't worry if you run out of energy, you can still keep playing, and you aren't forced to take a break and go do something else. But I do recommend taking frequent breaks. Alright, so now let's pick solo show, and this takes you to the song select. Now, by default, the game gives you a ton of songs right off the bat. I like to sort at the top here by song level, but you can sort it in any way that you feel is good for you. So you can scroll around and find a song that you like, and the next thing to do is select the difficulty. Now, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I strongly believe everyone should skip easy mode. If you're new, I suggest starting at normal, and then reading the notes pretty slow. It might feel intimidating, but I promise you once you start playing, you'll get accustomed to it really quick. But what you really want to strive for is hard difficulty at the least. This is where the game starts to get fun in my opinion. I hate to say it, but normal and easy mode, it just feels like you're a metronome keeping time, like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, or most likely for lower songs it's 1 2 3 4. You know, it's kind of boring. Here's a comparison between a normal chart and a hard one. As you can see, the hard chart has a bit more personality and is more tailored to the song's beats and characteristics. So once you choose your song and difficulty, go ahead and hit select at the bottom right. This will bring you to your team select. If you're a brand new player, you unfortunately won't have a ton of characters to choose from, so whatever is default is fine. This won't affect your gameplay experience much. At the bottom right, click start, and a pop-up should come up. It'll ask you to confirm your note speed. Now you can click do not show again, but I like to leave it on just in case I want to change it quickly before the start of a song. So now we're finally in game. I just want to quickly go over the UI because it's pretty simple. Starting from the top right, here's the menu button. Pressing this will pause the game and give you 3 options: quit, restart, or continue. The great thing about this game is that if you were to select quit or restart, it doesn't deplete your energy, and it's basically like nothing ever happened. You only use up some of your time, if that's important to you. I don't have a life, so that's no problem for me. Attached to that is your life bar. Every time you miss a note, it will deplete, and once you hit 0 life, the song will automatically pause and notify you that you died basically. And you can either quit, restart, or you can continue by spending crystals. In my opinion, there's absolutely no reason why you should be wasting crystals just to continue. But if you want to, the option is there. On the top left is your score and current progress on the grade. Despite how big this bar is, it's actually not very important, at least at this level. The score is heavily dependent on your team rather than your skill level. And considering you're just starting out, you won't have any high-level team members, which will result in a low score. But again, that isn't really important. Now, for the center of the screen, you have the lane where the notes will come down. And at the bottom of the lanes is the hit line. This is where you need to focus on hitting the notes accurately. Ideally, you want to tap the notes when it's completely centered on the line. This will land you a perfect. And hitting below or above the line will give you greats, and the further you are will result in goods, bads, and even a miss. Now, currently in the English version of the game, there are only 3 types of notes. The basic hit note that you have to tap when it reaches the line, the whole note where you have to tap when it reaches the line and continue holding until the end. Similar to other mobile rhythm games, you have to also time your releases, so let go as soon as the end hits the line. And then my most hated note type, the flick. This is what a lot of people struggle with when first starting out with mobile rhythm games. It's a little difficult to find the right movement and timing to hit these perfectly. And sometimes there's flicks at the end of holds that are a little easier to time in my opinion. The songs in Project Sekai range from 1 to 3 minutes, and once it's over, you'll be taken to the results screen. Ignore the scores and the letter grades because it's not important right now. Now you'll be taken to the breakdown, which shows you how many perfects, greats, goods, bads, and misses you got. If you have lates and earlies enabled, you can also see if your timing is more on the late or early side. And it also shows you the highest combo that you got during the song. After that, you can hit next and see your rewards. A button will be available at the bottom to go back into song select, or you can just exit out back into the main menu. And there you go. That's my beginner's guide to playing Project Sekai. Now, I know there's a lot of things I didn't cover, like how to farm crystals, how to unlock more characters, how to unlock more songs, and the brand new append difficulty. But I feel like all that should be another video. And this one was already pretty information heavy, and I don't really want to drag on for this video. So if you would like a follow-up video, or if you have any questions or concerns, leave a comment down below, or follow one of my social media accounts and ask me there. I'll have a link down in the description. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.